Abraham's story begins quietly, not with a miracle but with a call. At the time, his name was Abram. He lived in the land of Ur, settled, known, surrounded by family and familiarity. Then one day, God spoke to him. "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." God did not give Abram a map. He did not give him a timeline, only a promise. Abram obeyed. He gathered his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all they owned, and he began the journey. The land God promised was not empty. It was unfamiliar. And soon after Abram arrived, hardship followed. A famine came, forcing him to go down into Egypt just to survive. Fear crept in, and Abram made choices driven by that fear. Even in the land of promise, faith was still being formed. Years passed. Abram and Sarai grew older, yet the promise remained unfulfilled. God had said Abram would become a great nation, but Sarai had no children. Time moved forward, but the promise did not. When Lot separated from Abram, God spoke again. He told Abram to look north, south, east, and west. Everything he could see would belong to his descendants. God compared Abram's future offspring to the dust of the earth, countless beyond number. Still there was no child. As the years went on, Sarai grew weary of waiting. She offered her servant Hagar to Abram, hoping the promise could be fulfilled another way. A son was born, Ishmael. But this was not the child God had promised. God was silent for a time. Then, years later, God spoke again and changed Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of many. Sarai became Sarah. God reaffirmed the promise clearly this time. Sarah would bear a son. Abraham laughed. Sarah laughed too, not because they didn't believe God existed, but because the promise seemed impossible. They were far beyond the age of childbearing. Yet Scripture tells us God returned at the appointed time. Sarah conceived. After decades of waiting, after mistakes, detours, and years of silence, Isaac was born. His name means laughter, a reminder of both doubt and joy. The promise had not failed, it had only taken time. Abraham's journey shows us a faith that walked slowly, stumbled often, and still arrived where God said it would. The story does not hide the waiting. It doesn't rush past the years. It lets us sit in the long silence between promise and fulfillment. God was faithful, not because Abraham was perfect, but because God keeps his word. And the story ends not with speed, but with fulfillment. A reminder that some promises are not delayed. They are growing.